He became aware of a problem while they were traveling into the woods. His canine companion was absent. He looked everywhere, but he couldn't find the animal's remains. The puppy had disappeared. Where was it? Was he having problems? The man went into a panic. Ralph Dawn was a man who had a calm and uncomplicated life. His routine was mostly the same, and he didn't have many friends. He left for work in the morning, returned in the evening, and went for a walk. This man soon started to feel as though he was lacking in enthusiasm. He then made the decision to create a Facebook page. He quickly realized what he had been missing the entire time after making this choice. Ralph would prepare supper after returning from work, then settle into his favorite chair and look through his Facebook page. I wasn't sure what to put at first. What could a 50-year-old guy possibly say? Even though I didn't update my profile photo, I still liked scrolling through the page, Ralph said. Then, one day, a Filipino woman texted him. "I am aware of your good looks," she wrote. "Where is your picture?" along with an emoji of laughter. Although I didn't text back and she never texted again, her texts made me more comfortable, and a few weeks later, I added my picture. Ralph also posted for the first time later that week, and it received some likes and comments. Ralph started using Facebook more frequently over the following several days, and one day he happened into a group where members only posted images and updates about their dogs. Out of all these people, Ralph was particularly intrigued by a message made by a youngster, and this young guy quickly inspired Ralph to take a risk. This adolescent would frequently post about Terry, his dog. Ralph clarified, they did everything together. Ralph soon grew to love this adolescent and his dog, and he looked forward to their postings every day. Ralph woke up one morning with a strange sense of melancholy. Despite not checking it, he heard his phone ringing with many alerts. He didn't even know what was bothering him, but it seemed like it. Ralph eventually picked up his phone at around noon. This man had not wept in years, but what he was about to witness would cause him to cry like a lost kid. He saw there were several comments and that the alerts were from the animal group when he entered Facebook. He was looking through them when he saw the word cherry. Why was the term cherry used in every comment? Ralph went into a frenzy. He hurried to the group and, perusing through a few postings, came upon one that had more than 1,000 comments. It was the teenager's post. The youngster was the only one in the photo, which was strange as well. His red eyes gave off the impression that he had been crying all night. He never snapped a photo without his dog in it. Ralph didn't even read the caption since he was so enthralled with the teenager's unusual photo. When he did glance up, it was only after a few seconds that he read the words, "I lost her," plainly scrawled with several sadness emojis. Cherry passed away. We tried everything to rescue her when she became ill, but I think she became weary of my food and my face and decided it was best to depart. Ralph nearly had a panic attack when his phone fell out of his grasp after he finished reading. He dared not speculate as to the extent of the boy's suffering. We could all see how devoted he was to his dog. I was really sad for him. I went to my room and sobbed uncontrollably, Ralph went on. The boy remained silent for several weeks after that. He failed to post anything. Thus, Ralph sent him a Facebook message one day. "I'm sorry about Cherry," he wrote. "I was very inspired by you. I'm also planning to buy a puppy. Maybe he'll make me as happy as your Cherry did." After reading Ralph's message, the adolescent did not reply. In any case, Ralph felt relieved that the child had viewed his texts. Ralph eventually got a dog a few months later, and he called him Harley. Ralph knew his life would never be the same when Harley entered the house. And this dog turned out to be a kind spirit one day when he performed something that shocked Ralph much. These two were greatest friends for years, and their love grew stronger every day. Before Ralph experienced the scariest moment of his life one day, everything was going well between him and his animal buddy. He nearly lost his mind because it was that serious. Because of his physical aches that morning, Ralph chose to go for a walk after waking up a little earlier than usual. Ralph went to the lake near his house, where he and Harley used to go frequently. But as Ralph arrived that morning, he saw something unusual from a distance. On the opposite bank of the river stood the animal. Ralph asked himself, was it a baby deer or chevrotain, in confusion. In any case, he phoned the relevant authorities and let them know that a missing animal needed to be rescued in the area. Ralph realized he hadn't seen the dog that morning when the thought of Harley suddenly entered his head. Ralph's thoughts then gradually filled with the happenings of the previous night. He recalled how exhausted he had felt the night before. In the hopes of letting Harley in later, he had eaten dinner in the bedroom, closed the door, and napped. However, he didn't wake up till this morning. In what location did the dog spend the entire night? Why wasn't he even seated on the balcony or in the sitting room? While he dashed as quickly as he could back home, Ralph pondered. The front door was ajar when he arrived home. Fear took hold of him at that moment, and he nearly passed out. Had he gone for a walk and forgotten to close the door? No, he shot the idea out of his head. He surmised that there had to be someone inside the house. "Hey, Harley!" Ralph let out a loud cry that rocked his neighborhood, but no one answered. He dashed into the kitchen. He looked beneath the bed, in the shop, and on the toilet. Harley had disappeared without a trace, so he threw open the closet and even looked under the chair. I knew how much she meant to me at that very moment. "I didn't know I had been sobbing until I tried something salty," Ralph said. In this dire situation, Ralph thought about the adolescent's dog and feared he had also lost Harley. Relentlessly, the man ran out of the house and looked about, but there was still no Harley. Ralph was suddenly struck with an idea. The lake was one location he had not yet checked. So, with his head full of the wonderful experiences he shared with this dog, he hurried down to the river. Once there, Ralph flinched at what he saw. Harley was in the water, right there. The dog could swim well, but Ralph thought he was going to drown. He swiftly undid his sandals and prepared to jump in, but that's when he noticed something funny. Ralph noticed the odd animal he had earlier spotted as he looked up. He was positive it was a deer this time, but something quite endearing was taking place inside the water. Harley was standing next to the deer, helping to guide the small animal back towards the beach. It seemed that he had entered to save the young deer. Harley just sprung into action, without caring how the deer ended up in the water. I was overjoyed to witness her rescuing the unfortunate creature. Harley licked the fawn's body in a sign of affection after he had successfully rescued the deer, and he then raced to Ralph, excitedly waving his tail. He seemed to be saying, "Did you notice what I did? Are you not proud of me? How charming!" Ralph assured the rescuers that there was no need for concern when they soon arrived. He then joyfully returned home with his four-legged companion. After saying their goodbyes, the two expected to never see the deer again, but a few days later, they had an unexpected guest. After 3 days, Harley became agitated and began pacing from window to window, as though he had witnessed something and was itching to get outside. Harley crashed into a neighboring tree line as Ralph opened the door. With haste, Ralph pulled on his sandals and chased the dog. He was shocked to realize Harley wasn't alone when he arrived. The deer from the day before was also there. He had arrived to greet his tiny rescuer. Ralph observed as the two creatures touched noses and exchanged sniffs. Harley strolled quietly back home with his human companion after he was pleased. Thank you to his wonderful owner for raising such a wonderful and kind dog. More lovely and enduring memories are what I hope these two bring out.